Is it bad if I'm completely washed out?
Um, what could I do about that? What could I do about that? And you know what? This isn't the first
Person who's
who's looked white as hell.
are you like a tech whiz? Yeah, that's really me. Oh.
Okay. Look.
Oh,
Oh,
you did it.
let me just.
Well, that is crazy. Now I look like a person. Hi.
You feel good about that?
I feel really amazing.
Yeah.
I feel amazing about this. I'm on David's podcast.
And now I look tan as hell. I'm just kidding. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Long Form Conversations, the podcast where we talk about long form improv. I am your host, David, and today I am joined by a very special guest. This is someone that I've been wanting to have on my improv podcast for a while, but it is unbecoming, uncouth to invite all your teammates on. So I wanted to slowly stretch them out. But you're in for a treat because this is a very talented improviser, sketch comedian, writer, and actor. Please help me welcome, and future director. Please help me welcome Avery Girion.
Thank you. Hi.
How's it going?
Good. It's going very good.
Thanks so much for coming down.
You know, it was honestly a 10-minute drive, so all is good.
Oh, really? What part of LA are you in?
I'm like near Larchmont.
Remind me where Larchmont is.
It's about 10 minutes away.
Got it. Figured it out.
Down Vine, that way.
Oh, so you're kind of like, it's like kind of like mid-Wilshire?
Yeah. Like mid, yeah.
Oh,
mid.
Sweet. How do you like that area?
I really like it. Actually, so I grew up in LA and I actually went to high school.
Thousand Oaks.
No.
Thousand Park.
No.
Thousand Islands.
It's almost like I would tell you. No, so I grew up in the valley though of LA, like Sherman Oaks area.
Valley
but
Village.
Yeah. And Studio City, we're just listing different parts of LA. But my high school that I went to is right near where I live now.
Larchmont High.
Yeah, Larchmont High. No, it's like this all-girls school, but it was funny because
an all-girls school?
Yeah.
We're gonna get into that.
Oh, yeah. Because also I took all my classes when I was in all-girls school. I showed up to some UCB 201 and like
you took all your UCB
a skirt
classes.
and a polo. Yeah.
Wow. We're definitely gonna jump into that. Okay. First, let's talk about great.
Yeah, so loving my neighborhood. It's like near Hancock Park where all those big fancy houses are. And
that's where I want to live.
Literally, my favorite thing in the world to do is just like go on long walks around there. Sometimes I like to play like fuck, marry, kill with the houses because they're so big and pretty.
Yeah, some of them you just really want to fuck.
Oh, exposed brick. You know, it's kind of crazy. It's actually kind of crazy.
Get that inside me or me inside it.
Yeah, I feel like it would be pretty brutal to have it inside of me, but
I'll go inside it.
The charisma though of an exposed brick. But yeah, what about you? How long have you lived here?
I've lived here for about a little over 2 years now. I used to live not too far away. Like whenever, I'm pretty sure a lot of people do this, so this is maybe relatable, but like
let's see.
When I look for places to live, I'm always like, well, what's close to UCB? What's close to the PAC? What's close to the training center?
I feel like I need to be equidistant to all of my comedy pursuits.
And previously, when there was the training center in Sunset, I lived like exactly halfway. I like mapped it out. I was like, oh, great. If I need to go to Sunset, it's exactly, like 5 minutes. If I want to go to Franklin, it's exactly 5 minutes. And then when they shut down, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get a little closer to Franklin, a little closer to like Theodore Row,
So funny because I feel like for other people it's like the beach,
schools,
yeah,
grocery stores,
like fun strips of
where do my friends live?
Yeah, exactly. But I don't know. It's funny. I feel very nostalgic in my neighborhood, and I feel like I like being center in LA because you never know what like where you have to take a meeting, where you have to like go do a class or a performance, like. The once in the blue moon that I do stand up, it's like, oh, it's on the west side or it's far the other way. It's like nice to be centered.
So you kind of get around. Yeah, I had that same impression or the same idea when I first moved to LA. This was years ago. You were probably just a baby. It's 2013.
Oh yeah, wow. I was a baby.
But I moved to Koreatown. I was like, oh, this is perfect because it's right in the middle. But then what I didn't realize is that like everyone goes through the middle.
Yeah.
So it
Well,
was actually the
parking
worst.
is so horrible.
Parking was horrible. So
Yeah.
now that I've, I think what you have to like realize, I think people realize after like the first couple of months in LA, it's like, oh, you're not going to do all of LA. So you have to just pick
No.
what you do want to do and just
Yeah.
stick to it.
Yeah. Well, you know what's
and
funny?
say bye-bye to the rest. I've never been to the beach since I've lived here.
Wow. See, my reason for not going to the beach is because I truly sunburn in a way that is like horrific, but I'm a little fish. David, I'm a little fish. I'm a really good swimmer.
You're a great swimmer.
I'm a really good swimmer.
Summer camps or
summer camp. When I was like
grew up with the pool.
Yeah, a little fishy girl. Like I went to like growing up, like this means nothing, but it was like the Junior Olympics for swimming. But I don't, it's not like really that caliber of a thing. But like I was a good little swimmer. But then I started just getting, the beach, and I even did junior lifeguards at the beach.
You were a lifeguard. I think we talked about this.
I was a lifeguard. Yeah.
And that's right. We joked about you putting on a lot of
sunscreen. I used to, it's
you
like
have ear tan lines.
Well, it's like literally, it was like I would do this summer camp and it was like pool, swimming, all that stuff. I had a swim cap on and goggles, but my ears were burning so bad that my dad put a bucket hat on me. So there are photos of me just like lap swimming with a bucket hat on over.
But that's good. That's sun protection.
And
this was back in the day before they had ear muffs for swimmers.
Before they had earmuffs for swimmers. My God, that was revelatory when Speedo came out with that. Game changer.
So Babe Motel, I got a chance to catch your sketch show at the Elysian a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
So fun, hilarious.
Thank you. How would you rate it out of 5 stars?
I had to give it out of 5 stars. Can I have a 7 star?
Yes, you can.
Okay, I give it 7 out of 5. A perfect score.
You were in the front row too, which was really nice.
There was a moment. Yeah, because here's the thing. Whenever I go to comedy shows, and like those theaters, if you've never been, they're like tiny. So if you're not sitting in the very front, you might miss some things,
Totally. Well, and what's funny is there's like that one part in it when like the 3 of us get on our stomachs and we're like right on the edge of the stage, like whatever. And it's really funny because I'm like a face away from whoever's in the front row.
Yeah. I was gonna say, I think we made eye contact.
Yeah.
I did not mean to distract you or whatever.
No, you made me so focused.
Good. Yeah. I was just like, stay in it.
Yeah.
Present.
Say it, be present.
I'm not here.
In the moment. Yeah. No, thank you.
Yeah. A really impressive hour of sketch, which is something that you don't see a lot of people do. You see the pros do. Guys, I've timed SNL without the commercial breaks. They do about 40 minutes. So
so I beat SNL.
That's what I'm trying to say. You beat SNL.
Whoa. How old am I? And I already beat SNL. That's
and time out. SNL, how many cast members and how many are people in Babe Motel?
The overlap is not there yet.
3. The answer is 3.
Oh, 3. Whoa.
Because I'm saying that there's like a cast of like 7 or 8. Yes. I don't even know how big SNL is now.
Yeah.
But there's a cast of 3 only. So it's like you're in every sketch. So
no, exactly. Well, what's
commendable.
Yes. Well, but what's nice is like this was our first time ever doing a full hour. So it's Babe Motel is just me and 2 other people, Kel Kripe and Haley Steele, and we do sketch together in the past, like for the past 2 years, and like we've been doing variety shows. So it's kind of, we have a fun name and theme or whatever, and we do a sketch and then stand up, like a guest stand up, and then a different sketch and stand up, like that. And kind of like a standard sketch show with like, stand up guests in between or whatever. But this was our first time. We've done like a whole year of those shows at the Elysian. So it was the first time for us being like, okay, if we sucked out I was like, sucked
that's a weird
off.
verb.
Yeah. Sorry.
Whoa,
Whoa, sorry.
I got even weirder.
Yeah. But no, like if we pull out, I'm like, everything sounds gross.
What if you just say that
if I removed the stand-up acts, if we did, and it was just 60 minutes of just our sketch group, doing sketches, and it was really fun to find kind of this bridging of a bit of a narrative going through it, but not pushing it too much. Like I hope it still felt like a sketch show. Like we keep coming back to that dinner table, and it's like even in those little worlds at the restaurant. It's like, oh, it's like a funny sketch about this. And then it's like, and then we pop out of it or like whatever.
Yeah, definitely. It's very reminiscent of, did you ever watch the old UCB sketch show?
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, I mean, like I watch a lot. I love sketch. I watch a lot of sketch. You can definitely see where some inspiration is.
Or, well, especially like even when we were brainstorming, I remember Haley was like, oh, like I did this one improv show and it was like, we were in a parking lot and then we like, remember the time or whatever. And then you cut to
and
the
I even
time.
said that, like,
and then you keep coming back to the front.
Like, y'all did a pretty flower. And
yeah,
exactly.
Like, exactly.
Boom. So it all connects. It's
pretty
all
flower. Yeah. But it's
or Spokane if you're from the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah. Or Spokane if you're from the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it was just extremely gratifying. It's the craziest thing to feel like I found creative collaborators that like listen to me. I think that's a huge thing of like growing up, going to an all-girls high school, doing a lot of comedy with people that were older than me, a lot of men, feeling like I couldn't speak. Yeah. And then also in college, you know, like sometimes I feeling like my voice, like you know me, I'm chatty.
Oh, I know you. She chatty.
Not chatty Kathy, chatty Avery. But picture me like in my origins of coming up or whatever. It's like so timid and afraid and talked over and like not feel, you know, and maneuvering that and finding a way to be confident. And so now being in a group where it's like, oh my God, we can hear each other. We all get to talk. Oh my God. Everybody's words are valuable. That's crazy.
You found your voice.
Yeah. Yeah. And not only found my voice, but I found 4 ears that will listen to me. Because 2 people have 4 ears.
Did the math. That's
keep up.
In case you're keeping score at home, that is 4 ears, 2 mouths, 2 people. How many fingers?
Oh, honey, that's 20.
So there you go. How many strands of hair?
Could never count. I could never count.
So you could spend all life counting those strands of hairs,
or you could do improv.
You could do improv and comedy. That's right. All right, great. We're gonna go ahead and pick it up with our first segment now. This is Improvster Syndrome. You're a fan, so you know exactly what Improvster Syndrome is about, right? We're just going to talk about your improv journey. So I'm really curious to hear this. We already touched upon it, got some foreshadowing early on. But tell us about your comedy journey. I want to hear about, you know, even pre-UCB, like a funny kid.
What do you think?
I think babysitters were always like, put on a little show for me.
Yeah. No, so always immediately fresh, a little ham, a little silly goose. Immediately. And to the way where like me and my older sister, so I have an older sister and she's an actor herself. But when we were little, I'm Jewish and we would put on little skits or sketches or plays every high holiday or like anytime there's a holiday. And I remember being like Moses, but he was like had a New Jersey accent. You know, it's like in like me 6 years old, you know.
Who got who into it? Was it your sister that was more performative and like, you got to be my co-star, or was it you like, I have this one idea?
You know, I think she was like the director. She was like, and I was just like, da, 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 put me anywhere, da, 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 having fun. There's like a really funny video, like a whole movie thing of her like talking and me like just like really eager next to her, like she's like presenting like the beginning of the play, and
you just wanted to,
and I want to, and I like try to reach for the book in her hand, and she like just like is swatting my hand away. But just like that, I think I've always had a lot of enthusiasm, a lot of excitement. I think I've always had a natural read of people. I think that's one of the reasons why I eventually found my way into writing. But yeah, so I have this other memory of like elementary school. I think like maybe it's like first grade or something. And I remember it was like an assembly in front of the whole school, and we were doing improv. And it was like learning improv. So it's like first grade, right? Like, you know, like short form little things, whatever. And I remember I dressed up in my mom's like biker, like shirt and like cycling and her whole outfit. And I remember I was Helga, and I put on like an accent, and I was a trainer, and I was like, but I was this little first grader, and I had this confidence to be able to do it in front of the whole school.
You're playing like little characters.
A little character. Yeah. And I remember there's something so specific about Helga. And then just very naturally, like my parents have always been extremely supportive and nurturing of my sense of humor and just like being interested in being creative. And my family's full of storytellers. Like my mom was a journalist, and my dad's grandma, she wrote children's books. And like my dad, he was an English teacher before. Now he's like kind of a producer, but he is just like always around me. And then basically when I got to high school, I started just I did a lot of theater.
So at this time, were you conscious of like comedy, or was it just all acting? Because I think like for me, and I think for most people, they don't know the difference between like comedy, drama, horror, action. They're just like, I just want to do acting, and it's kind of a big umbrella.
I would credit my parents for this. It was definitely, I was always like comedy. It was always comedy. Like my parents, I really clearly remember watching SNL on Sunday mornings, and my dad like pausing after a sketch and us talking through it. Like he
really?
He just loved, because
watch it on Hulu.
no
Sunday mornings.
It's like recorded it.
Dang, on that DVR action.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Because even he was like, it's too late.
Well, because I was too young to stay up. Because I'm like 11 or 12 or something. And
plus you can fast forward through the commercials.
Oh, exactly. I think we're all on the same page. Hate a commercial. No, but always very, very supportive. So then it was like,
you guys would watch like Dick in the Box. Like, now Avery, what was that about?
Yeah, no, but
what's
like
the game of the scene?
Yeah, no, so what's kind of funny about it? No. And then he also like, but they would also like, I remember when there was like sometime I was like sick for 2 weeks and really sick. And my grandma brought me Mary Tyler Moore, and I watched all of that. And I'm like, and, I grew up watching, The Office, and 30 Rock is my favorite, and watching that like live late night. What is that? It was like Wednesday nights or something. I forget, but Thursday. Yeah. But, and so just really like, and people started, it was the thing of where it's like people started gifts,
Avery, she's funny.
Or, no, but like being like, oh, I'm going to give her Bossy Pants, right? I'm going to give her like all the books. And I remember there's just something funny of like, I had this realization more recently, but like when, you grow up reading all of those autobiographies of funny people, and you kind of look at it and you go, wow, there are 60 different pathways. Like, which path am I going to choose to do? And it's like, I realized, I was like, oh my God, you fucking idiot. You're pathway 61. Like, that's what it's getting at.
You
like,
figure that out at age 16.
Yeah, at age 16. I was
now. When was this?
No, I think it was like in college. So like I must have been 20 or something. But I remember really thinking about it, because I was like, because that's that time, right, where it's like you're prepping and you're like, oh, how am I gonna like leave school, and how am I gonna do everything I've ever wanted or whatever? And it's like, and I'm somebody who's like, give me a plan, like I'll do the stuff, like, I'm a big person who's like, I love a trillion balls in the air, like, where you need a million no's to finally get your yes. So I'm constantly doing things like desperate for my no's until, you're
out there hitting those no's.
It's hard. It's really hard. But what was I going to say? This was kind of funny. But basically though, in high school, I started, where they do, the Herald Experience or whatever. I haven't.
LA Connection Theater in Burbank.
Yeah, in Burbank. So I went there when I was 14, and that was like, and I did that for 2 years.
You did the improv there?
I did improv there, and so it was like so funny, and it was like short form, and it was just like kind of random, but it was like that was my first, and everybody was like much older than me.
Yeah, I kind of want to ask about that. So like you mentioned in high school, so like 14 to 17.
Yeah, exactly. So
what made you even want to try improv when you have high school theater, or you have,
Well, you know,
I mean, just high school going on, I think, is a big enough
no, I
reason.
know. Well, no, I mean, and again, like I did like all of high school theater. I did also like there were like Shakespeare monologue competition. I was like little Shakespeare girl too.
Oh, we got a little
I
Shakespeare girl
yeah, I
here.
won.
Thou.
Thou shalt not pass. But yeah, basically though, I think it was like my family, like I really loved making people laugh. Like my roles that I had the most fun in were making people laugh. I remember I took like a teen class at Groundlings for like and with Corey Podell, and then I took one with like Jimmy Fowley or whatever.
And am I
And
guessing then that your parents, like, they grew up here, they know that there are resources. So they know that this little funny daughter, and they're like, I want to do this, I want to do that. And it's like, oh, okay, well, I don't want to deal with it. So let's put you in some classes.
well, definitely. And I think it was like
after school.
yeah, yeah. Or like one, I think it was like a spring break thing that I did. And it was definitely like, it wasn't like it wasn't like I ever, tried child acting. It wasn't that. It was them nurturing this, like, she really likes comedy. And so it's like, I just started going for it. And I remember it was like, I auditioned at LA Comedy Connection and like, I could have gone in the teen group, but then he was like, oh, you can go in the adult group or whatever. And so then I started doing that.
So
and
this was like an
friends.
audition to like see what level you would take.
Yeah, it was like a group big audition of
Yeah.
like everybody going up, and there are people of all ages. And he
And
was like, you can choose. And I decided to do just the adult track of it. And
Interesting.
and then it was like when I turned 16 was when I did UCB.
Well, before we jump into UCB,
Yeah.
why did you choose to take it with adults?
I think I always was just like, I'm taking this seriously. Like, and like, because he was
so
like,
you don't want to make friends for the weekends of birthday parties. You wanted to like hone your voice.
I wanted to hone. I was like, yeah. And also the fact that he was like offering that, I was like, oh, he's like, you could do the teen one on the weekend, but I think you could honestly thrive. Like, it was like Monday nights, after school. Like, it was so funny afterwards, people would be like, you guys want to go to the bar? And I'd be like, I have a chem test in the morning.
Yeah, that must have been interesting to have what I'm guessing are like 30-year-olds interact with a bunch of, or not a bunch, just one.
People are really creepy. No, but yeah.
Say that again.
For the people in the back. No, but it was
people are real creepy.
People are creepy. Well, I mean, literally, like, yeah, whatever. I won't get into it here, but so crazy. But it's very interesting. Well, I remember also, like, I've been told different times to the two things, which is like, don't tell anybody your age. Like, just like, don't ever talk about the topic of age. Just be like, pretend, like, whatever. Because the second they find out, they're going to just like be like, oh, you're, what are you doing here? Which, speaking of, I remember going to an open mic when I was like junior in high school, something like that. And in LA, and I went up and then I went back down, and a new guy came up and he was like, what's the teenage girl doing here? Or like, it was like, try again. It was like something that was like kind of rude. Yeah. And it was a room only of men.
Yeah.
But then I went back the next, like, 2 weeks later, and I did great. And
did your parents accompany you?
No.
What did you got a car, driver's license, driving out by yourself to open mics?
Yeah. No.
So where did you find that courage? Because I can only imagine, like, it's already tough enough as it is for me, an adult man, but to now realize for a woman and someone who's underage at that, how do you find like the motivation to keep going after what I'm guessing is like
a lot of
negative.
Yeah. Well, this is what I'll really, I genuinely think this is the key to like the reason why I just so threw myself out there, was because my parents really raised me on this philosophy of failure. Oh my God, fail, fall down, get back up, fall down, get back up. Like the Samuel Beckett quote, try, fail, try again, fail better. So like the philosophy of fail better was like huge in my home. So I remember my dad saying something like, it was my first time doing like stand-up, like booked stand-up. I think I was junior in high school, whatever. And he was like, hey, don't come back tonight unless you bomb. I'll lock the doors. And like, I won't let you back in unless you bomb tonight. And it's like,
What did
you
you
know,
kill? Did you just sleep on the
well,
lawn?
no, but it's like obviously, you know, he's joking, but it's this sense of like, all I want from you is for you to throw yourself at
I see.
something, and the result doesn't matter. And
Set the bar at failure. That way you never get disappointed.
yeah, and I think it's what got me really comfortable taking big swings, and like the fact that I feel like I've really fallen on my face like for over a decade, right? Like of like doing comedy at this point and getting back up and knowing that the people closest to me only really believe in me. And my dad also said, he's like, Avery, 1 in a million jokes lands. Okay. Just keep making jokes. Like, and I'm like, oh, that's sweet. And then it's also like, ow, you don't think I'm funny constantly?
Maybe your jokes, Dad. I'm out here hitting 1 out of every 5 jokes.
Exactly. I'm like 1 in a million. Like that's a lot. Also, I'm like, you want me saying that many jokes to you? Like that's a lot. But yeah, so I really do think that like getting really comfortable with that, and like I think that's a big thing of like even now, you know, trying to throw myself, like whenever I'm really afraid, I'm like fucking push through it and just do it.
Yeah.
And not to say like I didn't grow up like, oh, cry on my drive home or something, but there was something, so I knew it was where I was supposed to be. And now I'm just so grateful that I did it. You know, it's like I couldn't have auditioned for Lloyd unless I had taken the classes back then. You know? So it's kind of interesting and very full circle.
So let's jump into taking it at UCB. What was that?
Yeah, so it was more so like I had grown up always seeing UCB shows. Like it's so funny because I feel like so many people that I know now or like am knowing now, I'm like, I really did, like I saw you from afar many times, but I was like a minor and nobody like realized, but I was at the Sunset.
You walked around in a trench coat, sunglasses, and a hat.
Yeah, and there was a little boy I was on his shoulders.
So everyone thought like, oh, this is an adult.
Yeah, this is an adult woman.
Yeah.
But no, it was crazy. And like, yeah, so I lived at Sunset in Franklin, and like, so when I remember asking like, oh, is there like an age limit that can you know, be a part of taking classes or whatever. But so I started taking classes there, and I, you know, well, I also like never, this is something funny too, in terms of age of like where I'm not, you know, I don't bring it up, but then it's like the one time, like I've been taking, like, say it was 101 or something, and I'd done 4 or 5 classes, and you know, it's the 6th one. We know you have this rapport with everybody. And then it was like the 6th one, and like I didn't have time to change after school. So it's like I walk in with my skirt and polo, and they're all like, who are you? Like them perceiving me like I was like in my 20s, like as their peer or something.
Yeah.
And then suddenly being like, were you in school?
Yeah.
And I was. But not that that's crazy, but it was just kind of funny. And also that
she was.
Well, also that's where creepiness comes in, where it's like like suddenly like the guys be like, wait, how old are you? Like, because also people are obsessed, I mean, with starting a scene with any woman and being like, honey, suck my dick, like or not that, but like, you know what I mean, where like where, and I'm like, and secretly in my head I'm like, what does that even look like?
Yeah. No, totally.
Now I know.
Oh yeah, men
I know so real
beasts,
what that's,
and they
totally
can't help but sexualize women.
But yeah, so no, and then like I you know, and I would always watch Harold Night, and I like was obsessed with like the people, and like, so that's why it's so crazy now of like, oh, those people like are coaches to other Harold teams, or like it's so I'm just like go back to being like almost like a kid, you know?
Yeah.
Well, because I also couldn't go to the bars after too. And so that was a thing where now I get to go to the bars, or like I would be snuck in or something, but I couldn't drink, you know?
Yeah. So yeah, let's talk about some of these classes. Obviously, a lot of fucked up shit going on there.
Yeah, but also fun,
Yeah,
but also fun, like the fucked up stuff, that's fun.
yeah, but can't I don't want I don't want to like skirt over and minimize. Like those are very real experiences that happen to, again, just adults, so it had to happen to a young person. That kind of, I feel like that might maybe like make you grow up quick.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's definitely interesting to be like, oh, I've been like strangely actively like doing like improv and comedy for like 11, 12 years or
11,
something.
12 years, just every day, button up your shirt,
Every day I button up my suit and tie and I say yes and no, yeah, but where it's like, oh, I have like been doing this for a while, where like even if I feel, like it's kind of funny, like when we walked in, to that first Herald orientation or whatever, and being so deeply intimidated and really scared and feeling like everybody's all these people and suddenly like shrinking back and feeling like I'm a baby. And like it was funny, after our first show and we were at the bar, I remember I was like, I feel like I'm in my uniform. Oh my God, like I feel like I'm 16, like I feel like everybody but I think
nostalgia.
Well, but it's not like a nostalgia of like a, not fear, but like a nostalgia that's like,
oh, you mean you felt vulnerable, like a child again?
Yeah.
Oh,
like
wow.
where I was like, everybody must, like the way it used to be, where it's like, everybody must be like, what is she doing here?
Like you showed up without the bottom half of your trench coat now.
Yeah, exactly. But then I realized I was like really in my head, and I was like, nobody knows that I like nobody is like, oh, she's, I don't know, and everything's fine. Everything is good.
Yeah.
I forget what I was saying.
No, I think I kind of understand it. It's kind of nice that like you kind of in the past probably felt a lot of feelings of like not belonging or feeling unwanted or whatever, because
they didn't like I was there. They didn't.
Well, yeah, you were like othered in a way that most people are not used to, which is, you're, to use like crude terms, you were like a kid at the adults table, right? At the grown-up table in a way, right? Not to say you didn't belong there, not to say you weren't capable of keeping up, but most people just, for whatever reason, would probably look down upon you as being a
like, oh,
she doesn't pay taxes.
Yeah, or it's just like, oh, doesn't she have such a far way to go? Like, oh, you really want to be like, oh, you're gonna do a set with a, like, and but the it's like, and then I get to perform and I kind of prove myself in that a little bit, and like,
then like now you're on stage and of course you can't help but have like flashbacks of like, I feel like that little kid at the bar again.
Exactly. And I think,
but you can drink now.
I can drink. No, exactly. So I'm like, the second I was like, I was like, everybody thinks I'm like stupid and young and like, what am I doing here? And then I was like, oh wait, tire? Yeah. I'm like, oh, like, let's go crazy. Yeah. That's interesting.
All right. So you were taking UCB during high school.
Yeah. And then so I wound up going to Chapman University.
So before we jump into that, you finished 401. So what was that like? Maybe did it line up with senior year? 401
I actually took it was my freshman year of college. It was like it was like when I came home for winter, or I forget what it was, or it was like a summer or something.
So you finished UCB.
I was like 19, 18.
You were already in college, so you were not kind of able to.
I never
do
got
the whole
to
post UCB life.
No, and that's the thing too, where it's like people are like, oh, like didn't you like get a coach with your 401 team, or like didn't I never did indie teams. I never felt like I was really a part of the UCB community during the curriculum stage. I felt like I was kind of a ghost that was like seeing every show, like watching everything. Or, I mean, I had my few friends, but I didn't really get to like sink my teeth into the world of it. And like that was the thing too, where it's like when it died, I was like, oh, I never got to do it. I would just wanted to graduate, and then I wanted to try for Herald, whatever. But I so yeah, like, but then I went to school. I went to Chapman, and I studied
in Orange, California.
In Orange, yeah, which David is from.
Close to
is where David is close to from. And I studied TV writing and production there in their Dodge, in their film school. And when I was at Chapman, two things. I did improv there, and I got on that team first semester my freshman year. Not to be crazy, but like 100 people auditioned and they took like 3 people.
Not to be crazy, yeah, but I want to ask you more about this improv program. Was it a school? Was it a club? How did this work?
Club.
It was an improv club.
CLUB.
And they did long form?
They did long form. They worshipped the UCB manual.
And the way, I guess, because I didn't have an improv club. I don't know about how improv clubs work.
Yeah.
Like normally you take classes and then you get to be a part of the community. Is this like a community where it's like you kind of already come in trained?
Yeah. Well, no. So it's college, right? So it's like it was a team of like 12 to 15 people, kids, whatever. And we practiced Sunday nights and Monday nights every single week.
But you had to audition to be in this club?
You had to audition. Yeah. So it was like they held big auditions in this big lecture hall, because the team,
is this like Pitch Perfect?
Literally Pitch Perfect vibes, except for the fact that it wasn't that.
No, because
like, literally exactly that, but except that it wasn't that. But
okay, well then I do have questions about this.
Wait, no, well, because this is crazy. Okay, because I don't.
Okay, sorry, we don't want to talk about Chapman's.
No. It was just funny because like it's like for college improv, like we would like have 400 drunk kids in this huge lecture hall.
Yeah, and
so we got to perform like. I got to perform like twice a month in front of like 400 people doing improv, which I will never do again. Right. Because it was like an insane experience.
Was
like
the ticket?
It was free. It was free. Okay. You know, it was like Thursday nights, twice a month. And it was like a big thing on campus. Like it was part of the culture of like it for like the improv was cool. And there was no football team, or like there was a football team, but nobody cared about football. Like and again, like there was a big film school there. So it was like, you know, the creativity, whatever. But, so I did that. But you know, what was really funny is like, I remember being, you know, I had done all of this UCB stuff. I like was so entrenched. But again, I was in the throes of like learning how to speak up for my, I was myself, but I was buried under like the weight of like other people perceiving me and like being able to speak and all these things. And I remember the beginning of my time on that team, though, I was like silent, so afraid. Like I remember texting Kel, and Kel's on Babe Motel with me. And so we both were on that improv team together.
So this was your teammate at the time?
Yeah. So we were both doing, so they were like,
are you Kel same year?
They're 1 year older than me. Okay. So they kind of at that point, I was like,
so they did it the year before.
Yeah. So they had gotten on the year before. And like, I was like, I'm so scared. Like, because the reality is like, I just cared so much. Like I was getting on this improv team was like even cool, like better than being at college. Like it was just so exciting. I was doing everything, you know, it was my version of my indie team, like, you know, outside of the UCB. It was like me getting to like collaborate and perform, but it was also me being like really scared. And I had to learn to fail in this environment where I cared a lot about the peers. Cause it was also this thing of, remember, all girls high school, suddenly I'm around co-ed men, my age, not 30-year-old men, boys my age.
Yeah.
That is crazy. Is it not, when you have to perform in front of cute boys that you like just had? I was like, so I couldn't figure out how to get out of my own head. And then by the end of it, so then this other element I just really wanted to say at Chapman was me and my other friend, Graham, we founded the school's first satire paper there. And it was very like, if I'm not writing for the Harvard Lampoon, I'm making my own. And
you created the Chapman Chuckle?
Yeah. Well, the Chapman Kumquat. And it was because Town of Orange, okay, cuter and smaller, silly. But it still exists there. And it still like is plastered all over the walls like once a month. And like, so that like my little legacy there of like comedy and writing and getting to be like editor-in-chief of that paper. So that was really my college years of like, okay, I was doing improv and writing. And that was when I really shifted between like, oh, like my performer self and really getting into writing where I'm like, I want to be a TV writer. Like because that was the thing. So like when I left school, I was like,
This was a creative writing or screenwriting major?
it was TV writing and production. So it was extremely specific. And again, one thing I really liked about that school is, again, I said earlier, like I really care about respect and mutual respect, especially on set or like in any environment. And I really liked that the curriculum there was you take every type of class. Like I had to take a sound class, learn how to do the boom pole, even though I wanted to write TV comedy, you know, and like having to like learn and know everything just speaks to you being able to do your thing even better or whatever. But so I left and I remember thinking to myself, like, okay, I'm a writer. I'm a writer. Yes, I've performed my entire life and I'm like, did so much theater and I'm like, I love acting and I love all that stuff. But I was like, I'm a writer. It seems like insane to like be an actor or to like really try to be a performer.
Yeah.
So, you know, I had these like half ideas of what post college would look like. And obviously, like pandemic hit and
Yeah.
moved home. And then, you know, I was like, okay, I'm going to be writer forward and do that pursuit and that thing. And I, you know, I was a writer's assistant and doing and the grind and my scripts were doing good and all these things, but I missed my performer self. But I kind of told myself like, I'm a writer, and when the performer is a like happens, like it'll happen when it should, of like, you know, kind of, you know, if I need to, you know, it'll like, oh, how great would it be to be like, oh, I get to be in a writer's room and I could be a bit part or something, or, you know, like that kind of thing. But I was, I feel so, I'm like, it's surreal to me. And I'm so grateful that like, I'm performing, I'm fully a performer
Yeah.
and I'm not just hiding behind the writer title like I thought I would be doing right now.
Yeah. So when you get back after college, you had met Kel. At that point, were you doing sketch? Were you doing improv with them, or what was going on?
You know, we were doing like in the pandemic or like not, you know, Kel and I, we did some improv with some of the people from our improv team at Chapman in someone's like backyard. You know, we were just like having fun, kind of like missing that nostalgia, but not like anything. Again, like I'm not thinking I'm performing. It's not like no audience, nothing of that. Like, but then it was funny. Basically, Kel kind of introduced me to Haley, who was doing stand up and stuff, and we decided there were like actually like 6 of us, and we decided we wanted to write like a scripted podcast actually, and there's like comedy whatever. But then like one day,
It's very
everybody
BBC
else
of you.
sorry, but then everybody didn't come, and it was just Kel, Haley, and I, and we were like, like, oh, want to film like a silly TikTok, like little sketch whatever, and we put it on Kel's account and it went like 5. But like in, you know, like, but that's crazy. Like I had never ever experienced something getting like 1 million something. Like what? That's crazy. And so we were kind of like, ooh, ha ha ha. Should we keep being silly together? And then we just kept really like earnestly like, oh, let's make these like silly TikTok sketches. And but we were like really like writing together and fostering a voice together. And then somebody reached out, my good friend now, like Xavier, he was like, oh, would you guys like through our like Babe Motel like TikTok thing, he was like, oh, like would you be interested in doing like a live show like at the Lyric Hyperion or whatever? And we were like, had never written, we had never done anything live. And so we wrote our first sketch, and it was, I kid you not, it was 20 pages long. And it was like, it was like a pilot, like
it's a 1-act play.
Yeah, it was crazy. But then we cut it down. We did like, you know, we had a 8-minute set, but we did it. And so that way it's so funny because he's one of our good friends now, but he gave us our first shot, and then we just started, wow, this is so fun. Like, and I honestly, again, I had never thought I would do the sketch route. I never took like, again, I took all of this improv stuff growing up, never took a sketch class. Not that it didn't interest me, but I really loved improv. And like, I feel like that's my performer and writer on its feet.
Yeah.
But so yeah, just really being creative with both of them and feeling like I've found my voice at this point and they're hearing me. And not to say it's amazing and perfect all the time, you know, any collaboration, you have to like figure it out with each other. But at this point, we've overcome different conflicts and we've just really leaned into each other. And I don't know. A bit of feedback that people often give us is like, oh, like I can just see how much fun you guys are having on stage. And I think that I've realized the ticket is like joy, and like real joy. And I'm just so grateful to be performing with them. But yeah, but again, like I didn't think I would be doing so much sketch, but now I'm like, oh, I'm like in a little sketch group. But now, a little sketch person, but that's why I feel then it was like, so I'm doing all this sketch. I haven't done improv since college improv. I didn't do anything on Zoom. I wasn't doing all that stuff. I know so many people were doing all that stuff. I was just like, when the pandemic hit, I'm like, I'm going to be a writer. I'm going to do all this stuff. I'm not going to, and then I started doing the sketch stuff and I'm throwing myself in that. And it feels amazing to be performing and to be received. And then
something I want to speak to, and you kind of mentioned, that this is kind of really why I want to have this segment and talk about imposter syndrome and all that stuff. It is just like, you mentioned that like I wasn't doing Zoom or I wasn't, doing any teams out here, but like, I don't think that matters because what you were doing all counts. Everything adds up to it. Like doing sketch, especially doing live sketch, you're on stage and you know how to get laughs and you know how to stand and all that stuff. That all contributes to it. You've done improv in the past, that all contributes to it. And then more importantly, like just your life story of like knowing how to listen and knowing, like you mentioned, not to like speak over anybody or rob anybody of their ideas. Like that's all the stuff that goes into this. I don't care if you've taken 1 million classes, you take one class. It's like you can do improv if you are an open person that's able to like receive ideas and to help people build those ideas.
Totally. That's what's so fun. Like, and that's what I'm like loving doing it again, is just like the volleying, when you're like hitting back and forth and you're on the exact same wavelength. Like my favorite thing is like this. My favorite thing is like this part of improv where every single person on the team is up here. This is their group mind and they're all on the same page, invisibly like linked. Like that's my favorite thing.
Yeah. And again, you've gotten that from doing your time in improv. You've gotten that from doing writing. You've gotten that from, you mentioned how did you use the word trials and tribulations, or am I using the word trials and tribulations?
You are using those words, but okay. I would use
you mentioned something about Babe Motel. You said that there was some struggles.
I said natural conflicts,
That's
like
what you said. Yeah.
Where
that's the same thing. That's just like, okay, let me just.
Also when you overcome, but also when you overcome or like actually like acknowledge something or like figure stuff out and take the time instead of like walking away, the closeness that you can't like, that invisible string is going to be like even more like it's crazy how close we are and how like we really like understand each other. But it comes from, well, I think this, well, I did it, or like, I remember we went to New York twice last year and like, I remember one of the times I was just crying. I was crying but you know what? I love to cry in New York. So I'm at
New York is for criers.
But basically, I remember summer of 2018, I had just gone through my first big breakup, heart ripped out of my chest. I'm in New York, Del Close Marathon. I having like a panic attack on the street between going to a different show, like crying because I just like, I kind of like I saw my ex as he happened to be in all this different things. And then guess who walks past me? Jason Mantzoukas. And really? I was like, oh, fuck. Like, I was immediate. You know what I mean? Like that to me, I was just like, okay, like shake it off, girl,
Man, that's awesome. If all of my breakups were immediately
like
capped by running into Jason Mantzoukas, I'd be a happy man.
Or him just walking past me, really.
Yeah.
Nothing. Yeah.
That's my favorite improviser of all time.
Oh.
He's my GOAT.
I love him.
Yeah?
I also have an issue where I love everyone in the way. That's actually not what I mean. I have an issue where I am like in love with. Wait, maybe cut that. Wait, I'm like,
I think I might cut that.
Yeah.
All right, great. Well, thanks so much for sharing your improv journey with us.
Yeah.
A long winding road, but I think what's great is that we have all these journeys, like you mentioned, 61 Baskin Robbins flavors, totally. And we all end up here in the same spot.
It all ends up with Jason Mantzoukas walking past you.
That's right. That's right. Ooh, what a nice road to end on. So we're going to go ahead and jump into our next topic now, which is going to be our topic of the week. So this topic is a topic that I had set out to Avery. And the reason why I kind of changed up the topics is like, I do feel that I don't think people are going to be listening for like specific broad topics. And then they're going to be wanting to listen for like specific things that they can relate to. You know what I mean? So it's just like the last episode was like networking relationships. Like that's kind of a broad topic. I should have made it maybe more focused on like, how do you make friends outside of class, or how do you blah, blah, blah. So for this one, I want to stick to just pre-show rituals. We're not talking practice. We're not talking, anything else. I want to talk specifically, what are our rituals before a show? And let's even get more specific. An improv show, not
an
a sketch
improv show.
Okay.
Yes.
So, why don't you, I feel like you've been talking. Let me
Please,
give you a chance to sip some water. I
am talking. I forgot that this goes both ways, huh?
Yeah. Conversations, two-way streets. For some reason, I'm just kidding. I have a hot take that I want to start off with in terms of the show rituals. I know that this is a big one, and this might be bad advice. I know it's bad advice. In fact, don't even listen to this if you don't agree with me. But like, I don't really like warming up before a show. And here's my rationale. For why I don't like to warm up. Because it's like, I understand like people need to stretch before they work out. That's healthy. Like you want to make sure your muscles are limber and warm up and there's blood circulating through them before you do something strenuous so you don't get harmed or injured. And if that's what a improv warm-up was, just stretching, I'm on board with that. My issue with improv warm-ups though is especially the kinds that like people do like, like categories or like, rhyming exercise or anything like that. The ones that cause you to think and get in your head, I think that's not, at that point, that is not a warm-up. That's not stretching. That is like actually
psyching yourself out.
It could be psyching yourself. It could be draining of energy, mental energy or whatever. Like my big point, and this is different for everybody, but like I mostly have shows at night, 9, 10 p.m., which means I've been thinking my whole day. I've been making lists. I've been zip zap zapping myself. I'm already warmed up. So when I show up before a show, I don't really need to get warmed up. If anything, energy. That's all I really need, right? So I could, I wouldn't mind like catching up. Like, hey, how's your day? That to me, that's stretching. But if you need me to like, hey, 5 things, give me 5 things in the trunk of a car. I'm like, that's gonna tire me out before I even get on stage. So that's my big thing on warming up. So let me hear what you think about warming.
That's interesting. I am a little bit different than you in that, like, what I wanted to say in terms of pre-show rituals is, I'll be really clear. Like, I am an anxious person. I'm like, I get really nervous. I get really in my head before I perform. I've been, we've all heard it. Like, that just means you care, right? Like you being nervous, whatever. But because of that, I've got a lot of nervous energy. And I usually like, it depends. It could click in right before the show, or maybe like, I remember before our first show, like, because, so exciting, whatever, like it was like the afternoon, I was getting worked up. So it was like, I needed to work out. I'm constantly pacing in the green room or like, whatever. And because of that, I'm kind of somebody who, and I'm totally down for this to be like everybody's different, but where I'm like, I actually love a categories or I love like some of them. I agree. Like if it's not going well, like a mind meld or something, like whatever, but I like something where I'm like, I can't think about any of the thoughts in my head. All I can think about is, okay, you said brick, I'm going to say cement.
I see. So for you, it's more about kind of like grounding yourself, kind of like focusing your energy. The million things that you could be thinking about now, it's like, let me just think about brick.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's me, and so I'm like, okay, this is an opportunity where I have to listen to everybody here, which that's prepping me for the mindset of when I'm on stage, right?
I think that's fair. And that's completely like, different experiences, different approaches to that. So I really appreciate you bringing that up. And I was like, oh yeah. For some people, it's not about stretching. But yeah, it's not about stretching. For you, that's really just like
I'm just trying
to
do like
a lap so I don't have all this nervous energy.
No, literally. Yeah. And maybe it's like everybody else wants to just chill and I do need to just sprint around the block or something. But it's very interesting because I get it, and it's funny because I feel like the place I feel the most myself and the safest is on stage, you know? So it's kind of funny where it's like, I'm so nervous, like stomach churning right before getting on stage, when I know every time, like, that's where I'm going to feel the most like myself. But, I think I have one pair of socks that I sometimes wear most shows.
You have a pair of show socks.
Yeah, but sometimes
Lucky socks.
Yeah, but I wear
No, we don't say luck. We say destiny.
We say destiny.
Destiny socks.
Destiny
Tell
socks.
me about these socks.
Well, okay, so they actually are these socks that
I thought you said they're actually the ones I'm wearing now.
They're wearing it right now. No, to me, this isn't a performance.
Yeah, that's right. This is real.
I didn't need destiny today. No, they're like
these socks.
They're like these socks that what's that website where you can just kind of make anything if you upload your own image?
I know it's like T Public, or there's a million of them now, but T Public is one of them.
No, but it was like the first time we were making any merch, and I was like, I uploaded a cartoon that I had drawn, and I put them on a pair of socks, and I was like, that was like our test run of like this website of like self doing it. And so I got the socks in the mail, and the cartoon was this big, splotched all over it. So it was just like,
oh, like a pattern.
A pattern of this cartoon. And the cartoon was of like a little bird and a little bee, and the caption just said, "Let's fuck."
And great.
It's kind of funny.
Great political cartoon. Was it meant to be the whole thing? And
it was meant to be. Yeah, it was meant to be just like centered on the side of the sock.
Yeah.
But in reality, I clicked a box that was like polka dot effect of the image or whatever. But anyway, so I just have these like.
So funny. I just want to say really quick, and I know the person doing it was probably like, well, that's not right.
Yeah, like this
not going to show well.
No, and you can't see the words. You can't even see really what it. But it's just I know what it is.
Yeah.
But
so it's a misprint sock.
So my misprint socks, and I also have this thing where I just like I'll wear like any two socks. I just have all my socks in a bin. Yeah. So it's always just I just need one of those socks on my foot.
Okay, one of them.
Yeah, like I don't usually wear like two of the same socks.
I see. I hear.
It just is like I'll just grab one. I just need to make sure I have one of those on. Mm-hmm. So that's one of my pre-show rituals.
Yeah,
but just because like it's something to ground myself. Oh, this is a thing. I'm big, like, again, anxious, neurotic, nervous, whatever.
Really? You don't seem like that.
No. I'm normal, cool, and awesome. But basically, I give myself lots of mantras to calm down. Like, you see me in the green room. I'm kind of like giving everybody a pep talk, but it's
for you.
It's for me. It's me giving myself a pep talk, but it's just out loud to everybody. And I'm just like, guys, you can't ruin your life in one night, right? Like, oh, if I bomb outside, like whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, also a big thing I used to say before college improv too is who cares? And I say that before Babe Motel shows too. Like, I'm just like, right before I go out, I'm like, wait a minute. Who cares? Oh my God, who cares? Like, everything's going to be fine. The worst thing that could possibly happen won't happen. And if it did, I am a human who knows that I can take care of it. And it's like, kind of like, whatever, you know? And like the second I flip into that blase, like, whatever, like right before, and then you run out on stage, and it's almost like when you go through that little curtain, I try like whatever that like wet, heavy jacket of feeling, I just really try everything in my body to just like rip her off. Like when you feel the light on your face and you're like, who cares? I'm having fun. And it's like coming back to the joy again, like what an opportunity. And it could be, you know, an audience of like one person or hundreds of people. And it's like, I'm just gonna like have fun. Like what a gift that we have the opportunity to make people laugh.
So you're like mentally preparing yourself to like remind yourself of the stakes and what you're doing and how it's supposed to be just fun. Let me ask you about what do you think about food, drink before a show?
Oh, I thought you were gonna say as a suggestion, never suggest food, right? That's the rule. Food, drink before the show. I like to perform sober. Is that what you mean?
I'm like more like
blackout drunk.
I have a teammate who likes to drink coffee before a show, even at like 10 p.m.
Oh.
I
actually have realized, because you know what I like? A lot of other people don't like this. It calms me down to watch the Heralds before ours.
So you like to watch a show?
I like to watch the two shows beforehand, and usually at that 7 p.m. I'll get a coffee from Gelson's.
7 p.m. coffee And there's no dinner at that point, or there was dinner?
I don't know.
So full belly, full caffeine,
Yeah,
full
yeah.
mind, full of Heralds.
Yeah.
Is what we like to go
Yeah.
home.
And there's something calming to me about watching the Heralds where I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm watching the formula, I'm enjoying myself, but I'm also like, I can do this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I'll be a little bit gross for a second. I don't like to eat before a Herald. I'm a burpee guy. I've noticed. I don't know what the deal is with my stomach, but like I eat anything, a sandwich, Cheetos. What's like a non-burpee food? Anyways, I will eat that and I will get burpees. So just for the sake of like not like having to burp as I talk. Same thing with my drink. I don't know why I burp so much. I gotta get that looked at.
Yeah, no, it's probably got like a little thing in your esophagus vibe.
Yeah. There's a little air pocket. I gotta get rid of it. But like I don't like to. Oh, I gotta stay hydrated for sure.
I'm definitely not. I never eat. I'm too anxious, honestly, to eat before a show. Like it's not good, but like for like our big Babe Motel shows, like sometimes I'll forget to like.
Eat after.
Eat after. Totally eat after.
So I'll eat on empty stomach, and then you see me in the room. I will kind of just start pounding waters or LaCroix.
Totally.
Gotta stay hydrated. Can't have dry mouth. That would be the worst feeling.
Oh, totally.
Yeah. And I'm very lucky to be able to say this. I know a lot of people don't have the luxury that I have. I nap. Yeah.
Before the show?
I nap a lot.
Whoa.
Which is why I usually don't get out to the 7.
Because you're sleeping?
Because I'm sleeping. After work.
So you're like fresh.
I'm so fresh. That's probably another reason why I don't like to warm up. Is because like I just woke up. I don't want to do all these exercises. But like if you can, I know that this is such a luxury. Again, I mostly perform at 9 or 10
I just can't sleep like that.
So like it is like I just woke up. I should have dinner, but you know what? I gotta go run to the clubhouse or run to UCB to do a show. So a lot of times I'm performing just after a nice 2-hour sleep. So if you can, those are my rituals. I don't really have many rituals. I don't warm up, I don't eat, and I sleep before if I can.
And mine are, I like to warm up, I nervously pace and give everybody else a pep talk, give myself a pep talk, and I wear a lucky sock.
All right, last one. Do you do this a lot? The I got your back. So what do you think about that ritual?
I love that ritual.
Why?
Kel and Haley, we do it for each other too. Again, this is a team. We're a team. And, you know, it's the thing of like, oh, don't call yourself ugly like when you're upset because your brain is going to start to like believe that, or like I'm not smart. Your brain starts to believe that. So it's the same way that your brain, like the subconscious is really soaked into it. Like just saying like, I got your back. It just is such, especially you like physically always touch them. It's like it's that safety. It's that like, it's that last little thing of knowing like we're about to do something. And that's my version of like sports. It has been improv. So
I feel like I'm a little bit of a stinker, or like a little bit of a, what's it called when they
buzzkill?
Yeah, or they always start like they always like
yucking my yum.
No, there's like a word for the type of guy that always starts arguments. A contrarian. I don't want to seem like I'm a contrarian here.
Now I'm never gonna do it to you.
I'll say it, and I do mean it, but like I also believe like, hey, we've been practicing together for a few months now. Like, you know, I have your back, and I know you have my back, or I know you don't have my back, and you know I don't have your back. So saying it, I feel like, it's just words. It's like love, right?
Well, like love.
It's like love. Like I know
I need the words of affirmation.
You need the words of affirmation. Oh, okay.
Because I don't like, that's a big thing where it's like it's hard for me to like,
even if someone's shown you love for like a year, but you're like, but still say it.
I mean, literally, like Kel, Haley, and I. There's just, it's not even the love part. It's just like it's a grounding, like. It's like taking that collective breath, or like counting to 20 together. Sure. It's like, I like that moment of like, we are intentionally having a clear moment where we're all acknowledging, like, we're going to go do something. We're going to do it together. Whatever happens, we're with each other.
Yeah.
That's,
I think I'm just like a grouchy, pessimistic, stoic old man where I'm just like, Gertrude, I know you love me. Stop. Don't make me say it. You know I love you.
You know? Yeah, and I'm Gertrude being like, oh, come on, Johnny. Just say it one more time.
Oh, I got you the gifts and I gave you the access service. You don't need the words.
Oh, Johnny.
But yeah, like I do it, and I do appreciate people saying it.
I respect that though,
But I'm just like,
honestly. Yeah.
yeah, like you've shown time and time again that you have my back. So like,
I think for me, it's less taking the words. Like it's less of like, oh, thank God, like I wasn't sure.
Yeah.
And more so just like this like conscious like connecting of like, in sports, don't they do this thing like go team?
Yeah, like a huddle. Yeah. And I would love to substitute I got your back with just a high five. High five.
All right, we're gonna substitute got your back with high fives. High fives.
I got your palms.
I got your palm.
I got your palms.
Got your palm.
All right, great. Well, thanks so much for discussing our pre-show rituals.
Of course.
We learned a lot, and hopefully you found that helpful. And you gave all the pros and I gave all the negs, so you got to get a little bit.
I will. Yeah, I was gonna say I'm like you're pessimistic, but I'm always in a little optimistic girly. Guys, who cares, right? Who cares?
Who cares? Show emotion. It's okay.
Who cares?
Say those words. Be vulnerable.
You can't ruin your life in one night.
One podcast.
Oh no, I'm nervous.
All right, we're gonna go ahead and move on to our last segment, which is our
hot improv takes.
So this is our opportunity to kind of rant about an improv trend that we like and we want to see more of. We don't like, we want to see less of, or something that we think is at a really nice level. So would you like to go first? Or would you like me to go first?
But I have two, one and then two.
You have two?
Yeah.
Why don't you go sandwich me then?
Okay.
Yeah. So go to your first one.
Okay. Hot improv take, laugh on the back wall. Again, coming back to just people like watching people have fun and have joy. And I think there's nothing wrong with laughing at something you think your teammate said while you're watching from the back wall, or just like facially reacting to it. Cause I think also like, the audience is picking up on those cues of when they should be laughing. And if you're thinking about what you're going to say next, like you can also see that. And I think just being really present with your team. And if you're enjoying yourself too, the audience is like tenfold. It was funny. My dad, I keep talking about my dad, but he came to see a lot of our shows and he was like, Avery, my favorite part was watching you on the back wall, not even like your scenes.
So he wasn't watching us.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. He's not watching you. He's never watching you guys, just watching his little girl. No, but, no, he's like, he was like, when you're having fun. And again, it's been what the feedback like I've gotten from so many people is I love how much fun that is being had. Yeah. And I think that sometimes people are like, don't break, don't, stay focused, like, don't distract back there. You're not distracting by like, just like silently, like enjoy your team, enjoy each other.
Yeah. Yeah. I even me, like I do laugh. And one time I remember, and I've everyone looked at me after, because you know how we have the wooden panel. I forgot what show it was, but I started laughing and I slapped the back wall. And then the how back, I was like, oh, I guess that was too much, but it was so funny.
You want to give them the,
and I don't know why
I am too. I'm a leg hitter too.
And it was just that hollow wall. You know how it echoes? So
totally.
Like,
no, that.
And I was like, oh.
Yeah, I guess
that's fun too. It's like, oh, I laughed so hard that I made
the wall shakes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, no, exactly.
Okay.
What's yours?
So hot improv take. This is the first time I'm doing one of these. Just right. The amount of tags in a set. I typically feel like there's some sets where like, oh gosh, they're not tagging. What's the deal with not tagging? You gotta take advantage of that support move, or they're tagging way too much. I'm like, hey guys, calm down, let the scene breathe. But I don't know what's been happening lately. I don't know if the teachers have been teaching it well, if the coaches have been noting it well, but there's been the perfect amount of tags. And what I think a perfect amount of tags is like 3 every 5 minutes. I don't know if that's like mathematically sound or whatever, but if you're doing just 3 tags every 5 minutes, I feel like that's like the perfect amount. 1 every 5 minutes is not enough. It was like someone tagged and they're like, oh, I guess no one else is gonna jump on this, or they tag like 16 times in 5 minutes. It's like, guys, relax. It's not, slow down a bit. But 3 every 5 minutes, that's what I've kind of been seeing. I think that's the perfect amount. Don't tag more, don't tag less. If it's been 3 tags, hold on a minute, let them do their scene, walk in, walk out, edit the scene or something, but just don't continue to tag. That's my hot improv take.
Interesting. I like that. Yeah, I definitely think that if you do just like one tag, it can sometimes feel like, especially from an audience perspective, it's like, oh, what are they doing? But I like a cluster of tags. And
Tag run?
Yeah. And I'm also somebody who's like, oh, in like one Herald, like, oh, you could have like 1 to 2 different tag runs in the course of the whole thing.
Yeah, and
You know.
even speaking of the Herald, like when we were all on board on this, 0 tagging in the first beats,
Agree.
right?
Yeah.
So that's why that kind of buys you. That's not the average. That's where the average comes in. Where it's
Yeah,
like,
totally.
you probably didn't get to do any tags for the first 8 to 10 minutes,
But
which
have fun with that group game.
Yeah, tag in the group game, tag in the second beats, blah blah. But then if all 3 of them, if all 3 of the second beats look the same, where it's tag run, edit, tag run, edit, tag run, edit, everyone's just like, y'all forget how to walk on, or y'all forget how to like live in it. So
literally,
great example. Thanks for bringing that math in there.
Of course.
Yeah.
Now
we're ready for hot take number 2.
Yeah, it's my final one.
Okay.
Hot improv take. There's literally nothing cooler or more confident than when you open and close a door without going through it. When you just go like, when you just do this shit, slam, that's so fucking cool. I love that shit. It's like, oh my God, the character they were just playing disappeared into vapor and now you're suddenly an improviser on the back wall. There's literally, that's so sick to me. I love that shit.
All right. I agree with you, but I would also say maybe not a hot take. Maybe just.
Does everybody agree?
I think
it's just cool.
I think everybody loves that. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I think it, but hey, our shared hot improv take, that's fucking cool.
Stand.
Walking through a door. What are you, a baby? Your first time using a door? You know how doors work. Exactly. With your object permanence, you're like, well, we still here. We get it. It's cool. You're like, and I'm in the back line. Or it's just, I walk at the back line. Excuse me, sir. Like, where'd you come from? Did you just enter the scene out of magic teleportation? Very cool.
Very cool.
Very cool.
Very cool.
All right. Great hot improv takes.
Thank you.
We got 2 really good ones here. One of them maybe universally loved.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks so much. We're going to go and wrap up one last thing. It's a nice long recording session. Just talk to us about your plugs.
Oh. Lloyd Night with David, and with Odyssey, and then
every other Monday
at 10 p.m. And then my other plug would be Babe Motel, at the Babe Motel on Instagram, because some woman has Babe Motel. And then, well, I was going to say we're going to go to New York in September, but I don't know if anybody's from New York.
You never know. They might.
You never know. Babe Motel pays their dues at Littlefield in Brooklyn in mid-September.
Yeah. So and then the TikTok, is it also at the Babe Motel?
That one's at Babe Motel.
Okay, I'll put both of the links.
Yeah, I'll just tell you what it is and you could just do it.
Yeah. Thanks so much. All right.
Wait, David, thank you for having me.
Oh, of course. Yeah, absolutely. You're so welcome. Thanks so much for stopping by. Had a really great chat.
And can I just say, as you can tell, always been a little improv nerd girl. And it has been the thrill of a lifetime to talk about improv on my first ever podcast.
The first of many, I am so sure. Thanks so much for sharing your journey. And thanks for stopping by. Hope you all enjoyed our episode. Bye, everybody.